Let me bring you some breaking news now. Saudi Arabia and the US say the warring sides in Sudan have agreed to a nationwide ceasefire, but only for 24 hours starting on Saturday. It's the latest in several attempts to stop weeks of fighting between the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces. We're going to go live to Hiba Morgan. She's in Omdurman, across the Nile River from Khartoum. Let's talk about the ceasefire first of all. 24 hours does not seem like a very long time. What more do we know?
Well, what we do know is that this 24-hour period that was proposed by the mediators, Saudi Arabia and the United States, for the two sides, the two warring sides, the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces, is a form of confidence building. That's the statement. That was what was stated in the press release by the Saudi Foreign Ministry. Now, it's supposed to be similar to the previous ceasefire, where there should be no artillery strikes, there should be no airstrikes launched by the Sudanese army, there should be no fighting between the two sides and no military gains made by the two sides. If the two sides are able to implement that, then that, according to the statement from the ministry, would pave the way for further talks between the two sides, and it would also allow for humanitarian assistance, much needed humanitarian assistance, to reach those who are trapped in areas of conflict around the country. Now, the statement also makes it very, very clear that should that be violated, like the previous ceasefires are violated, then the talks that are ongoing in Jeddah would come to an end, because there's been so many frustration, as per the statement, that both mediators are frustrated by the repeated violations by both sides, and that they're not ready to continue watching more violations as they try to bring an end to this conflict between the rapid support forces and the Sudanese army.
Hey, but just as you've been talking to us, we've been looking at some of the pictures from Wednesday about the fighting that had been happening in Khartoum, and I think I can see some smoke rising on the horizon behind you. Bring us up to date with the latest on the fighting.
Well, it's not stopped a single day since it started in mid-April, even during the ceasefires that were agreed upon by both sides for a period of 7 days and then extended for another 5 days. Now, there were reports of artillery being used around Yarmouk in the southern parts of the capital, Khartoum. That's around a weapons manufacturing company that belonged to the Sudanese army, and which on late Wednesday, the RSF was able to take control of. There's also been Antonov planes flying overhead from the city of Omdurman, heading towards the southern part of the capital, Khartoum. And we were able to hear heavy artillery being fired here in Omdurman in various directions. We know from residents in the southern part of Omdurman city that there's been airstrikes, heavy artillery against supposed RSF positions. People in the north, also in the northern part of the capital, also reported hearing heavy artillery and gunfire between the rapid support forces and the Sudanese army. So fighting is very much ongoing. Residents have very little faith that this ceasefire would actually stop the fighting, even briefly, even if it's a period of just 24 hours.
Hiba, thank you very much indeed. Hiba Morgan talking to us from Omdurman.